Hey guys, how are y'all? I wanted to continue a little bit more of the conversation that I have been talking about, a little bit about these non-negotiables, your boundaries, keeping up your boundaries, having boundaries, thinking about your boundaries in advance, and executing your boundaries. Now, I am a person who, has always actually had boundaries. I always have had lists. I've always kept, diaries or written affirmations, things like that. When I say always, I mean definitely once I got into, my mid-20s and stuff. Once I learned about affirmations and speaking positively and all that kind of thing, and just basically writing down your goals and the type of life you want, your husband, things like that, right? So this is not really anything new to me or anything new that I've done, but what is kind of new, or what I am kind of changing up on some, is just being a little bit more specific and also adjusting, because life changes. The only thing that is constant in life is change. Okay, times change, people's change, our environments change, our goals in life change, as they should. Okay, who is supposed to stay the same and with the same goal? If you have the same goal for years and years and years, it means you're not reaching your goal. You might need to reevaluate something, right? Okay. So, but in any case, so as I am, I'm in a time in my life right now where I have a little bit of breathing room, in between relationships or whatever, like I'm not in a relationship officially right now. So for me, the only time I ever get to do this is when I'm on purpose about being single, because there's always somebody waiting in the cut, right? And, it's just, that's not good. It's not good. You need that time to reevaluate things sometimes, in between relationships, right? So now, when my husband died, I didn't jump into a relationship right away. Somebody did find me relatively soon, but I had to call that out because I wasn't ready, and I knew that, it had been a couple of years or whatever. When I got remarried, finally, it was after 5 years of being married, or of being widowed. And my goals were very different at that time. My goals were just different. I had smaller boys at the house, and I really wanted a man's presence there to help with the boys, to, give them a good example of a man, right? And that was one of my primary goals, right? I had other goals, of course, but it's like now where I'm at in my life right now, that's not my primary goal, right? Because I had my children young compared to a lot of people I know. Not compared to my mom and some other people from that time, but compared to a lot of my friends and whatnot, I had my children pretty young, so now I don't need to necessarily look for that. And I mean, I'm not saying that I don't want somebody who's, not a good example or whatever, but that's not my primary goal, right? Now that I'm moving into a place of where I'm going to be, working a different type of career, which is going to take more attention. And also as I, move into my mission, which is helping other women, widows, especially young widows without life insurance, like I was. As I move into that, and that, helping others and being of service is more my goal, right? The man that would support that is going to look different than it did a few years ago, right? And I say that because I've experienced some relationships where I've had some, they were selfish. Let's just put it as plain as can be. They were selfish. They didn't like sharing me, my time, my energy, our food. Okay. I don't come by that. I wasn't raised like that as a child. I wasn't raised like that in a family. In our family, what's mine is yours and what's yours is mine. I mean, I'm not talking about brother and sister rivalry where it's like, I'm mine. You don't want to share with your brother and sister. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about with outsiders, with strangers, with anybody in need. Our family, if we had it, we gave it. We had no problem sharing. Whatever it may be, right? Because we felt always called to do that. I I can see that there are a lot of men who are, they might say, or they might have a good game and say, yeah, I like to give, I like to help, or whatever. But when it comes down to it, no, they're not supportive of that. They're not actually wanting to be of help and service to others, right? So that is actually very important, that anybody that wants to associate with me understand that giving of self and resources and in my mission to help other widows. Okay, so it takes a special kind of person. It's going to take a special type of man who is also wanting to give back it's fatherless children and widows. This is what the Bible says. The Bible literally has that literally as part of our worship to God, is that we're supposed to give to widows. And now I understand why, because I was widowed. And I was widowed very young and without life insurance. It's very important that we don't forget widows, at any age, but especially when they're young, and especially if it was a very sudden type of thing, right? So if any man that, it's like dating now, or, even thinking about a mate or whatever at this point with what I know I want to do, right? It's like, I can't be dealing with games, and I can't be, wasting time with a man who is going to try to secretly just commandeer all of my time and energy, like secretly has, other missions for me. Okay. I also can't be Captain Save-A-Ho. Okay. I know that usually goes the other way around, where, the men like to be Captain Save-A-Ho, right? But in this case, for me, I can't be Captain Save-A-Ho. You can't be a hoe, and I can't be trying to save you, right? But what that also means is, like, I understand we all have issues and we all have things that we need to work on. There's issues, right, that we all have, because we're all imperfect. And then there's issues, like you need to be Baker acted issues, like you need to go sit your butt in a hospital for a little while, right, and rewire your brain kind of issues, right? That would absolutely take me way off my track, right? I'm not a nursemaid in that way. I'm definitely not the type to just up and leave just because you're sick or you need help or something like that. No. I took care of my grandparents to the best of my ability, as much as I possibly could, before they both passed on, to, literally was there until they both took their last breath. I was very close to my grandparents, and yes, I did whatever was necessary. Bathed them, washed them, shaved them, all of that, fed them, all of that. So it's not about that. That's not what I'm saying. Especially when you're with somebody and you dedicate yourself to them and they get in an accident or something like that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about somebody who is capable, okay? But they come to you in a way that they are presenting themselves as a healed individual or whole, functioning, or they think they're an amazing person because they own a car, own a house, or whatever. But in actuality, their mental stability is actually in question, okay? I'm talking about trauma dumping on somebody, for whatever reason. Maybe you didn't work out issues that you've had in the past from your childhood or whatever, or, the addictions that you have secretly or privately, allow your vibrations to drop so low that negative entities attached to you. And this is something that's absolutely real. We see it all the time. When you see people screaming in the street or acting crazy, whatever. Yeah, they got a demon. Yeah, they're possessed. They got something. I mean, yeah, their mind is being consumed by something. Okay. And yeah, people call it different names, like they're just mentally unstable, or they're not mentally well, or they have multiple personalities, or they have schizophrenia, or they are, and I'm not coming down on anybody like that. I'm absolutely not. What I'm saying is sometimes there is an actual mental issue there that needs to be worked on and can be worked on, or whatever. And sometimes it's not that, but it looks like that, right? But it's actually not that. It's actually addiction. Like, let's say you drink too much. When I say addiction, I'm not talking about cigarettes. I'm talking about, hardcore crack, whatever, cocaine, whatever, that you are snorting, smoking, drinking, whatever, putting it up in a needle, whatever y'all do these days. I don't know. meth, all that kind of stuff. The stuff that's hardcore stuff, right? Whatever. Pills, pill popping, pills is huge. People love to get on some pills, all these pills. And then people think it's funny. They think it's cute to rap about it, talk about it. You know, the pill situation is really absolutely ridiculous. But anyway, whatever the case is, it's absolutely attacking your brain. It's lowering your vibration and allowing entities, negative entities or any kind of entities, sexual entities, whatever, right, that attach to you, that make you look like you're having a mental breakdown, or make you look like you're having a schizophrenia attack, or whatever, like a Jekyll and Hyde kind of thing, okay? That is what I'm talking about, okay? A mental disorder and things like that, if you're born that way, or if you're on the spectrum, I'm not talking about those things, right? I love you. I love all of you. You know, I have it in my family. We have, those are different. That's different when you are born with the defects of that. That's not what I'm talking about, okay? But in particular, I'm talking about, in particular, addictions. Now, there's one particular addiction that is very acceptable amongst all ages, all groups, all types of people, all types of religions, whatever. It's very acceptable, and it can even thought to be, you know, okay, right? I'm talking about smoking weed. This is what I'm talking about. 420, you know, all of that. Okay. Now, you're talking to a person who loves herbs and vitamins. I have always, my entire life. Anybody will tell you, you come to my house, you'll see lots of herbs and vitamins. I've worked at 2 different health food stores. I've helped people many times. I love herbs and vitamins, right? In fact, I love the fact that Jehovah gave us plenty of things on earth to help us with our ailments. But people tell me all the time there's nothing wrong with smoking. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that there's anything wrong with smoking, per se. But where you draw the line is when you drink, when you smoke, or drink for that matter, to cope. As a coping mechanism. Okay, if you're having a stressful day and you need to smoke. If you are anxious about something and you need to smoke. If you're happy and you need to smoke. If you're trying to make love to your girl and you have to smoke. You know, if you can't accomplish something, or you are needing to accomplish something and it involves you have to smoke to do it, or take pills, or drink liquid courage, or whatever, that is an addiction. That is a codependency. That means you are dependent on that substance to produce something for a particular outcome, for you to calm down, for you to feel happy, for you to feel better, for you to forget about your pain, your traumas, or your sadness, the things that you went through in your childhood, your bad childhood, whatever the case, okay? You're hiding. Essentially what you're doing is you're hiding and running from whatever it is that you don't want to face, and instead you'll smoke it away, okay? So there is a difference between people who smoke once a month, once every 6 months, or when they're social, in a social setting, or they don't have a craving, they don't have the strong desire, and they certainly don't do it to accomplish anything or to hide. That is not what I'm talking about, okay? That is called having balance, or, you know, moderation. The Bible does talk about moderation. I mean, we all know that Jesus Christ's first miracle was turning water into wine, right? So clearly wine, drinking, or whatever, I mean, the Bible talks about, like, you know, have merriment. Yes, the Bible says all the herbs of the earth is for us. I know the Bible says that. And yes, God did, he created, I know that, I hear it all the time. Oh, he created herbs. Oh, okay, yeah. He also created poison ivy. Okay, and are we over here smoking poison ivy? Are we down in poison ivy down our throats? Are we putting it all over, rubbing it on our body because God created it? Okay, no, we're not. Okay, oh, that's the thing back there. No, we're not. We're not doing that, right? And there's a reason why. Because why? We know the limitations that Jehovah gave us. We know that some things are just not meant to be fooled around with, or not meant for that purpose, right? A lot of things do become carcinogenic as soon as you put it to smoke. As soon as you make it in a vape type of way, it becomes a carcinogenic. Anything that's a carcinogenic actually becomes not good for your body. It actually becomes like not healthy for you. Okay, so you're fooling yourself if you think, oh, smoking this weed is not bad for me. Oh, I'm, I feel better. Now, the effects of smoking, especially, can be good if you are, if you have a cancer, or if you are in some sort of pain. Absolutely, smoking weed would be much better than getting on an opioid, or getting on them Percocets and them lower tabs and stuff like that because of back pain. Absolutely, weed is better than that, okay? Because it's less addictive, it's less harmful. We know that, right? But that is not what I'm talking about. I am not talking about the uses for that way, okay? Because I definitely believe in the benefits of marijuana. I believe in the benefits of it. I absolutely do. And I know that there are benefits to it. But it becomes detrimental to you, or any substance like that, when it becomes something that you feel like you need to have in your body, that you literally can't go hardly a day or 2 days or whatever, and you're just itching, okay? That is an addiction. That is codependency. And as long as you have a codependency, you are not going to be living your best life. You're not going to be living life to the fullest. You're not going to be able to reach your potential, okay? And also, depending on how bad the situation is, or your addiction is, depending on that, will also depend on what kind of marriage mate are you going to be, okay? That issue is something that should not be hidden. It should not be hidden. It should not be secret, okay? And more than that, you have to think about your codependencies and think about, do they make you a better marriage mate, or a good marriage mate, or maybe not a good marriage mate at all? Maybe you don't need to be married at all. Maybe you need to take time to work on these codependencies and wrestle that devil spirit out of you, okay? This is very important because it's like very widely acceptable, out there, as in like, that's okay. It's not. If you are, I don't care how old you are. I don't care if you're 80. I don't care if you're 50. I don't care if you're 25. I don't care how old you are. If you want to enter into a relationship with somebody, and you have these codependencies, then they're not going to be able to depend on you. You see what I'm saying? The other person can't really depend on you because you're dependent on that. And that doesn't work. Especially if the other person is not codependent. Okay? Now, I'm all about being, independent, obviously. But I'm about being interdependent in a relationship. Interdependent. Or very, willingly being dependent for certain things, It's okay to, be dependent on your spouse for certain things, ebb and flow. That's not what I'm talking about, okay? So the reason I'm bringing this up is because it does come up a lot in relationships. People like to hide their issues. They don't want to admit that they have an issue, or they don't think they have an issue. But again, if you take time to be honest with yourself and ask yourself, why am I drinking right now? Why am I drinking? Why am I drinking right now? Why am I smoking right now? Okay. Why do I need this pill? Why? Is it because you're stressed and you have to do that? Or is it because of something else? Am I hiding? Am I having memories that I want to get rid of? Okay, that's the question. And if you're honest with yourself and you answer the question and there is a reason why, outside of just, I'm enjoying the company I'm with and this is what I'm doing right now, okay? But I could take it or leave it. You might have a dependency on it. And you might want to check yourself. Be an adult, man or woman, own your kahunas, and check yourself, okay? Fix it. Don't be out here in the world trying to date, trying to talk to women or men, whatever, and think that you're a good marriage mate and somebody's going to want to be around that when especially they don't indulge in that same type of thing. Okay, that's all I want to say for this video because it's been long enough. I'll see you in the next one.